anyone working on the SEO for your website, or even if you're the one doing your own SEO, you should be looking at anytime Google makes any algorithm updates. So if you're using SEMrush, you can track that with the sensor section. This is pretty important to know about because if you ever notice a decrease in keyword rankings, maybe a drop off in some top rankings from, let's say, position 1 or 2 to position 7 or 8, you notice that noticeable click-through rate difference. Or maybe you get a new surge in traffic and you're like, well, what's going on? SEMrush has a sensor right here. It can show you what's happening in the industry. And it has it broken out by the score. So, for example, I might look at my industry, which is sports, and I can see that it has a high rating with how much is changing within the SERP. So what that means typically is that um, if Google search results are changing a lot for a specific category, it'll have a higher number because it shows that there's more changes happening for this particular vertical. Whereas in maybe real estate, for example, not much is happening. Could be because of the times, could be because of the for whatever reason. It's just that how the searches are or the results are changing for, let's say, real estate are not as dramatic as, let's say, news, which has a 9.0. Things are changing like crazy. What's neat too is that you can read up about some of these algorithm updates. So it says Google's algorithm for the last 30 days. There's a major signs of a rollback that happened for a major core algorithm that took place in May 2020. So you can always read up more about that. So I like to keep this as a pulse to figure out, how sites are doing, or especially with my clients as well, of how their particular field is performing. If they notice a drop or a surge in traffic, you can maybe go back into an update. Other things that I do, so I use Mozcast. Mozcast is a pretty good way to see how Google is changing with an overall algorithm update. So Mozcast right here, 73 degrees. You can see that it might have spiked back in June 2020, 96 degrees. If you want to know more about what those metrics mean, you can go to the metrics section. You can learn more about how they categorize their ratings. You can learn more about what the symbols mean. So a sunny day versus stormy day shows the volatility that's taking place within a Google search result. Finally, I like to look at this website called SEO Roundtable. It's a pretty good publication to understand any updates that are taking place within Google. So if you go to Google and you go to updates, they have this section here that they break down any of the changes that are taking place. So this was just written a few days ago. Signs of a small update may be taking place. And you can read up about what's happening. They take graphs from Mozcast, along with some other sites. SEMrush is on here too, should be, or sometimes it is. For this one, it's right up here at the top. Yep. So SEMrush, typically one of the first ones they show. Then Mozcast is my personal favorite. Just a really good way to keep a pulse on what is happening within Google, because there are some elements that are going to always be out of your control. So even if you do the search analysis right, you have some great links pointing back to your site. Your site's very fast. Let's say just everything is going really well, and then all of a sudden you might notice a drop. A keyword goes from position 5 to position 55. Maybe check out SEO Roundtable, check out the sensor tab within SEMrush, and even check out Mozcast to see if there's any updates that are taking place. Because chances are, if Google is making an update to a specific algorithm and it affects your site, it's good to just take a note of that and just say, okay, an algorithm took place on this day, and then monitor it. Usually, if you've done everything right, search analysis, and you're not doing any black hat type of SEO, you should pop right back up. There's always cases that does not happen, but for the most part, if you're doing the right approach, you should be rewarded. If you're practicing any questionable ways around SEO, I think you would be more concerned about an algorithm update because you don't want to be caught necessarily. So this is more just to say that if you're getting more traffic, maybe you got an uptick with the new algorithm that's taking place, or maybe if there's a slight dip, maybe it's just Google reshuffling their results before they do another algorithm update to maybe bring you right back. So definitely get in the habit of checking out how other sites are tracking Google updates.